What up YouTube? How we feeling today? Hope you're doing great, hope you're doing fantastic. Back with another Division 2 video and back with another monster of a build. This is my second Pestilence build and man, this shreds through everything. You can hit up to that 1.5 millions a tick. Yes guys, 1.5 millions a tick with only a few adjustments from my previous build because y'all reacted a lot under that video. Y'all loved that video and you gave me a lot of extra ideas. So here is the build guys. This is just a straight up beast. And again, thank you very much for everybody who responded under my latest video, because this definitely hits a lot harder, up to that 1.5 million a tick. Like usual, I will show you some gameplay of a mission and a CP. I'm skipping the countdown gameplay because this is mainly a solo build. Yes, you can use this on countdown, but it's pretty hard to stack up that max stacks of the Pestilence because 7 other people are shooting as well. So it's pretty hard to max out the damage output of this build in countdown. It definitely works in countdown, don't get me wrong, but I'm only showing you CP and of course a mission to keep this video a little bit shorter as well. But guys, that's enough intro, enjoy the gameplay.
Trigger the sprinklers. They should be able to put out the flames. Gotta put out the flames. I don't know if Maya has any fireproof gear.
Serious trauma detected. Heavily armored hostile detected.
Take some of this shit! Gotta reload! Trying to get behind them. And I'm getting
I need you back with me.
Leave us alone!
And there we are, guys. Of course, like usual, starting with our specialization. We are using the gunner specialization. Why? Because this comes with that extra 10% armor on kill whenever we take out an enemy. And it isn't only from our gun. It also is from the Pestilence stick. So whenever a Pestilence stick is taking somebody out, you will get that 10% armor back, so a little bit extra survivability. And next set, of course, we have that third reload is 50% faster. What comes in clutch because we're using an LMG, it's a little bit slow on the reload. Of course, our armor kits are repairing for 100% and an extra 30% bonus armor for 10 seconds. Next set, we have an extra 10% of total armor every 60 seconds. This is very, very nice and very underappreciated. Because we're sitting still most of the time, we're trying to aggro people. This is so nice. Whenever you're fighting a bunch of enemies, whenever you're fighting a CP, and you cannot get towards your ammo, this will definitely help you out. Of course, always stack into LMG damage because we're using an LMG on this build. But enough about the specialization, let's dive over to our skills. And the first skill we're using is the Reviver Hive. Why? Because we are pretty squishy and this is mostly a solo build. Yes, you can use this in Countdown as well, but it's pretty hard to stack up to the max stacks of that Pestilence because 7 other people are shooting at the ads as well. So this is mainly a solo build for running through the open world, running through missions, whatever you like to do. Solo or go, for example, into the summit. I have 10% Reviver Armor Repair, 5% range and 10% health as the mods on there. Next set, we're using the Cam Launcher, 9.8% in share duration and extra ammo, and this is because we're using the Foam Cam Launcher. Why the Foam Cam Launcher? Because you can use it on biggies or on groups of enemies when they spawn out, trap them, open up your Pestilence, and then you can just stack up that Pestilence build quite fast, or of course shoot it on a suicide bomber or an hogger that tries to take you out. You can just freeze him on that same spot and then take him out pretty easy. This is another extra survivability, but again, you can go for whatever skill you like. So another skill that I can recommend is the Striker Drone. Why the Striker Drone? Because it flies around, it shoots the people, so you're getting an extra damage output. And of course, the enemies, the ads, are aggroing your drone, so you can take them out pretty fast and or of course stack up those stacks of the Plague of the Pestilence. But let's jump over to the build and the weapons that we're using. And of course, because this is a Pestilence build, we are using the Pestilence. My Pestilence on this build hits for 122.2k because I have it on expertise level 15, an extra 15% weapon damage. Everything is maxed out, and why are we using the Pestilence and why is this so freaking good? Of course, from the Plague of the Outcasts. Hits apply a debuff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. And this stacks up to 50 times. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuffs, all stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. And the stacks refresh. So whenever it only has 1 or 2 seconds left on an enemy, but it takes his out, it jumps over to our next enemy, the stacks refresh. So you will get that Plague of the Outcast again for a max of 10 seconds. Then over to my secondary, I'm just using the Kingbreaker, not using it that much. I only switch over to my secondary whenever I need to reload the Pestilence and I'm getting pushed. Switching over to the Kingbreaker, take somebody out real quick, and then switching over to the Pestilence again. You can go for whatever gun you like, just like the same for your pistol. I chose to go for the TDI card, but you can go for whatever pistol you like. I'm not really using the TDI card, and no, it's not helping my skill tier. It only helps out whenever you have it in your hand. It doesn't give you a skill tier whenever it's holstered, but go for whatever handgun you do not have proficient yet. This is just quick and easy and a cheap way to get all your pistols up to the proficient level without using your materials, without farming for it. But let's jump over to the build. For the first 2 pieces we are using Heartbreaker. My mask and my holster are both on Heartbreaker. Why? Because this activates the 2-piece bonus, 15% assault rifle and 15% LMG damage. I chose for this because the damage output or the weapon damage is the only thing that boosts up the Pestilence sticks. So the critical hit chance, the critical hit damage doesn't boost that up at all. But the weapon damage talents, and of course the multiplicative damage outputs will boost up your Pestilence sticks, and that's why I chose for Heartbreaker. 15% weapon damage, 6% critical hit chance rolled on there, and 12% critical hit damage. You can go for whatever you like. I chose to go for critical hit chance because I still want to do some damage with my gun itself. This build is not only towards the ticks. Yes, you can do up to 1.5 million a tick with this build, but I still like to do my own damage. Then, like I said, exactly the same for my holster. Heartbreaker, maxed out, 15% weapon damage, 6% critical hit chance. But let's jump over to my chest. For my chest, I'm using Seska. Why? Just like I explained a few seconds ago, I still want to reach that cap or close to that cap of critical hit chance, and Seska gives us that 10% critical hit chance. Fully god rolled, 15% weapon damage, 6% critical hit chance, 12% critical hit damage, and a 12% critical hit damage mod on there. And of course, glass cannon. All damage you deal amplified by 25%, and all damage you take is amplified by 50%. Because we are already sitting behind cover, aggroing people, shooting people down, building up those Pestilence sticks, this is one of the best talents to go for, especially if you want to boost up that damage from the Pestilence sticks. But let's jump over to my backpack, because that gives us a lot of extra damage as well. And we chose to go for Walker and Harris. Why? An extra 5% weapon damage. Again, fully god rolled, 15% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage, 6% critical hit chance, and a 12% critical hit damage mod. And of course, we chose for Vigilance. Because we have glass cannon on our chest, we can go for Vigilance. We need to watch out to get hit because we are a little bit squishy. So make sure to always be in cover, or almost always be in cover. And then Vigilance is just straight up the best talent to go for. Increases your total weapon damage by 25%, but taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. But like I said, we're using glass cannon. You do not want to get hit, so the Vigilance will almost always be procced. Jumping over to the rest of my gear. And that is, of course, the Contractor's Gloves. Why? Petrov gives us an extra 10% LMG damage, and like I explained a few minutes ago, that multiplicative damage also raises your ticks of the Pestilence. That 8% damage to armor comes in clutch. Again, maxed out, 15% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage. And then over to my last piece, and this is the piece that y'all recommended me to use. I ask you to give me some tips and tricks or comment down below on the video, and everybody said use the Sawyer's knee pads. This is my only blue on the build. We're not using it for armor, although it's pretty nice to have a little bit more survivability, because of course we're playing with glass cannon. I'm not doing it for the explosive resistance, I'm not doing it for the health, but I'm doing it for the talent stand your ground. You cannot be staggered by explosions. It's pretty nice, because when you get hit by a grenade, for example, a grenade launcher, you will not get pushed out of cover, so you will most likely survive. Yes, it will still hurt you, but you will not get pushed out of cover. This is very nice to have, but we're doing it for the second part of this talent, and that is increases your total weapon damage by 3% each second that you are not moving. This stacks up to 10 until you start moving, and all stacks are lost 10 seconds after you start moving. So we're getting an extra 30% weapon damage while we're sitting still. Because we're using vigilance on the backpack, because we're using glass cannon on the chest, you are just sitting still. You do not want to get hit, so this is a perfect addition to the build. Thank you very much for everybody who responded under my last Pestilence video. This is definitely a harder hitting build. And this is the overview, guys. Pestilence, of course, went for the Kingbreaker, the TDI card. Then, of course, for our specialization, the Gunner specialization. 2 pieces of Heartbreaker for that 15% LMG damage and 15% AR damage. The Seska for that glass cannon and an extra 10% critical hit chance. The Walker and Harris for that extra 5% weapon damage and of course vigilance on the backpack. The Petrov gloves for our damage to armor, that extra multiplicative damage and that 10% for the LMG. And then at last the Sawyer's knee pads while standing still, giving us that extra 30% weapon damage. But yeah guys, this is mostly the overview of the build. The only thing you might can change is going for second piece of Walker and Harris, giving you an extra 5% multiplicative damage with that 5% damage to armor. But like I explained, I still wanna hit some crit shots with my gun itself, so that's why I chose personally to go for Seska. So let's go over to the stats. We have 122.2k weapon damage, 44% critical hit chance. Could be a little bit higher because I always like to stack towards that 50% or 55%. But within this build, I'm content enough with 44%. 170% critical hit damage and 85% headshot damage, and next to that 14% damage to armor. You can again raise this to that 19% if you go for a Walker and Harris chest and you don't really care about the critical hit chance, then definitely go for that, because that will boost up your ticks of the Pestilence. But yeah guys, that's pretty much my build. This is one of the hardest hittings LMG Pestilence builds out there, and you definitely need to try out this setup. Again, thank you everybody for reacting under my last Pestilence build, and this is why I made this. Everybody said, Prime, use the Sawyer's knee pads, that's gonna boost up your damage output of the Plague of the Outcasts a lot, and you are definitely right. Again, hit me up in the comments down below what you think about this build. What would you change? Do you care about the critical hit chance, or are you going for an extra Walker and Harris? Let me know in the comments down below, but that's it. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribers button. And of course the notification bell. PurePrime out!